Hi there, this is Gorgeous George, and welcome to my world. Back on TV in 2008, starting a new year with the Gorgeous George Show. I'll tell you what, 14 solid years, over 3,000 shows, been doing it for so very long. Public access has been the venue, internet, and eventually keep doing it right. Sooner or later, getting my big break. But now, I'm here to let you all know that I'm back on and ready to cause more mayhem for you all. Love me or like me, best love me because I am what's causing this wonderment for you all. Spent New Year's Eve in Vegas. Vegas is my second home. Always have a great time in Vegas. And now I'm back, ready and ever, doing it for you all with a little sing and a little song. 2008 is going to be a great year, and we're going to do it. Do it right. Gorgeous George style, that is. Throughout the years, I've been censored. I've been on different venues and been censored, comparable to Howard Stern. Howard Stern has made his mark. Cutting edge humor, that's what I've been about for the past 14 years. Doing what I do and doing it for you all. Censored, yes, but still doing a great performance. A great performance, that is. A Vintage Valentine Inc. Now, it gives me great pleasure because I had the privilege of meeting someone very special last week in Miami Beach. It's not every time that you meet someone or meet a celebrity, though I like to think of myself as a celebrity, but compared to this woman, not even close. But if I had the big break, hopefully sooner or later, I will still get the same fame. But this woman that I interviewed is not only a beautiful woman, she's the queen of leather, the queen of rock and roll. And we did this in Miami last week, Miss Suzi Quatro. And I tell you what, in that interview, I learned a lot and I got to know the woman. The first time I met the woman, and she sparkled the room up, just with a handshake. And it was a very great interview. By me doing the interview, ladies and gentlemen, I became a better person. And I pretty much needed to pinch myself because it all happened so fast. And when it was all over, I felt sad because it felt like that, it was a brief interview, but I felt sad about it. But because it was over. This woman was very engaging, very accessible, and I fully enjoyed myself utmost. And I'm sure the fans out there that see this will enjoy this. True fans of Gorgeous George and true fans of Suzi Quatro around the world will see the interview of 2008. 2008, the interview that will put Gigi on the map, if you will. And Ari, tell it like it is about the rock and roll legend herself, Suzi Quatro. Actress in Happy Days in the 70s, Leather Tuscadera, I believe on 17 episodes in the span of 3 years. In comedy, working as an actress and a singer, she's paid her dues. And if you don't know about her, if you're under a rock, you best know about her because she is definitely truly a legend. She got her career started back in the days in the early 60s. As a little kid, she saw Elvis Presley, and Elvis Presley was who she wanted to be as she grew up. And therefore, the queen had emerged. And I'm not going to give too much away in the interview. I want you to sit back with your popcorn, your buttered popcorn that is, and look at it. When the interview was over, once again, I felt sad because I felt like, I might not see her again. But there will be a friendship as far as I'm concerned for Miss Quatro. There will be anything that I can do for you, Suzi, you know that I will. I felt like I met a friend for life. It was very sombering when it was over with, but it was still there. And I feel like, friends forever as far as I'm concerned. Do I compare her to Mother Teresa? Yes, I do. And at least in my eyes, I compare her to Mother Teresa. Because she's that hot. She's a hottie, and she knows that she is. She knows that she's a hottie. And that is just all that needs to be said. A great person, a great individual, and full of charisma, and a woman that, that I met, and a woman that, as far as I'm concerned, will always be friends with. Mother Teresa has nothing on Suzi Quatro, okay? Sit back and enjoy, because in my eyes, is one of the greatest interviews of all time. So, all you lovers out there, sit back and enjoy the interview of 2008. Gorgeous George and Miss Suzi Quatro. Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Gorgeous George. We're here in a secret location in Miami. Can't tell you where that location is because it's secret. And now, you know, I've been planning this interview for a while, and we've been talking to the powers they be. My people talk to her people, and her people talk to my people, and we pretty much planned this out. Of course, I was going to do an interview with Madonna, and she kind of like told me, no way. And then, of course, then I was going to do one with Britney Spears, and she's in rehab, so we couldn't do that. But better than those people, we've got someone here that is better known as the queen of rock and roll, the queen of leather. And she's big in the UK, and she's been big everywhere. Miss Suzi Quatro.
How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, good.
And now I will say,
we're going to slide right in.
We're going to slide right in here.
Okay.
A secret spot in Miami.
Yes.
But, you know, we can't say where because
better known as. No, I won't do it now.
Well, no, we can't say that. No. But I'm glad I have butterflies in my stomach. You know, I feel like I need to bow down to you. You know, you are a legend in the rock and roll bit, and you're big in the UK. And, you know, of course, a lot of people know you for the Queen of Leather Tuscadera, and Happy Days. Let's go, we'll get to all that and stuff. Let's break it down to in the childhood years when you were a little girl, a little baby. What inspired you and what made you know that you wanted to be a rock and roll star?
Yeah, that's an easy answer.
All right, let's hear it.
I was 6. I think it was January the 6th. It might have even been, or 8th.
And I know the story too. I know the story also too.
Oh yeah,
I
I saw. I was watching the Ed Sullivan Show
Right.
with my eldest sister by 9 years, so she was a teenager, and on came a guy called Elvis Presley. Remember, I'm 6, and he was doing All Shook Up.
Right.
And my sister, because she was a teenager, was screaming. So I was watching her scream and thinking, what's the matter with her? Watching the TV, and I was getting pulled into the screen, and I'll never forget it. And he went, And at 6 years old, I had my first sexual thrill. Absolute truth. I didn't know what it was. But I went, what was that? And quickly followed by my father coming in, looking at us two and saying, that's disgusting, switching it off. I was going to be him. And it didn't occur to me he was a male. I just knew at that moment I was going to be a rock and roll star.
Right.
He bit me big time.
He bit you.
At that age.
Honey, you lied when you told me you to get down with me, and I had no cause to doubt you. I don't want to hear more of your lies. And going on, I can't. That's a dirty version. I can't get into that. But anyway, Elvis Presley, definitely the king of rock and roll. I had the privilege myself of going to Graceland back in '99, and Lisa Marie Presley was giving the tour. That was sweet. And
Great,
it was sweet to see, you know, and it was, you know, whether you're a big Elvis fan or not a big Elvis fan, you get the privilege and the pleasure of going into there and getting to find out a lot of stuff. It's very sombering. You know, you get in there and you say, damn, and the man, you know, and of course he's buried right with his mother and his father there in there.
I know.
Obviously, and I think the Presleys sold Graceland. They sold it, you know. But it's a very sombering experience, and whether you're really into his music or not, you earn so much respect for the man.
Oh God, yes. There's nobody like him.
Yeah, I mean, there's only there's only one Elvis Presley.
That's absolutely correct.
So through that time, then you knew that you didn't know what you were feeling. Ooh, you were giddy, and he's like, you know, this little girl, and said, I want to be him.
Yeah, sure.
And there was no gender across. I mean, you just say, well, I want to be him.
Yeah, it never occurred to me that he was a man. I didn't think about it. Don't think about it now. I just knew what my path was going to be.
Right.
And then when I was 14, I was again watching the Ed Sullivan Show.
Right.
And the Beatles were on.
Right.
So the exact right age to love the Beatles. All the girls called each other, you know, 2 sisters that we knew, another girl, and we decided at that minute that we were going to start an all-girl band, which is what we did. So that started. I was given the bass because nobody wanted it, so I started to play the bass.
Right.
Fell in love with it. Then at 18, I saw Elvis's comeback special. So he was wearing leather. And at that point, I then married the leather up with me, wanted to be like Elvis. And it's kind of like everything went like this.
Right.
And then my younger sister, there's a point to this, my younger sister came into the band to be lead singer. I kind of took a back seat and just played bass for about a year.
Right.
And it was in that particular band that Mickey Most came over from England and saw us. He only liked me. And it was like from that year of not being in the front of the band, which I always was, that I married the bass playing. And then when the bass playing became more important, then the singer came back in and it did this. Then I was ready to go solo, which is what I did.
Right.
And then I went over to England at the age of 21, and 18 months, the rest is history, as they say.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Quatro, that is now. Give us the true pronunciation of the name, or what the real name is.
I was born Susan K. Quatro. That's my real name. My
Right.
father is Arthur Quatro, but my grandfather is on my father's side is Italian. My mother's side is Hungarian.
Right.
My grandfather's name was Mikhail Quattrocchi, which means four eyes, and of course, like a lot of immigrants, when he was coming into America and came to Ellis Island, they used to take one look at your name and they couldn't pronounce it, so they just would chop it.
Right.
So he entered the United States as Michael Quatro,
Yeah.
and that became the name,
Right.
and that's how my dad was born. So Quatro is my real name, but Quattrocchi is the old family name.
Right.
And my mother's name was, I gotta say it, I can hear her screaming up there, Ilona Otila Sanasloi. She's a Hungarian from Budapest, her family.
There you go. So you got mixed cultures.
Oh, big
no
time,
doubt.
yeah.
You are from Detroit, Michigan, I believe, right?
Yes.
Born and bred in
Born
Detroit,
and raised.
Michigan. Okay. Do you ever go back to Detroit much? Do you ever visit?
I used to go back a lot. The last time was '89, and then my parents moved. My dad had a heart, bypass, and they wanted to be near one of the daughters, so that they moved out of Detroit down to Dallas. And I haven't been back to Detroit since '89, but I do want to go back because
Right.
I like to reconnect with my roots.
Yeah.
And I will go back soon.
Do you have a big family? I mean, how many siblings do you have in your family?
It's a big family. 4 girls, 1 boy, all musical.
Right.
15, 16 grandchildren. Big family.
Big family.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, but being Italian, I'm Italian too, and of course I use my hands when I talk also.
I do
So,
too.
yeah.
I'm holding mine down. Yes.
There you go. Now, let's go back. When you were 18, you formed a group with your sisters, right?
14.
14. You
Yeah.
formed a group with your sisters, better known as the Pleasure Seekers.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us more of that.
Well, like I said, it was done because we saw the Beatles, and the idea was to have an all-girl band.
Right.
And in fact, I just saw one of the original members 2 days ago. She's still a friend of mine. We know each other since 11. And everybody kind of chose an instrument, and they did. My older sister, Patty, said, "You're playing bass guitar," so I started to play bass.
Right.
Although I'm schooled in piano and drums.
You play the piano very well?
I read and write. Yeah, I love piano.
Just in case.
I love piano.
Just in case. We got to go back there.
I play on stage. I do a couple songs on stage that way.
Right.
But I am really on stage a bass player. That's where I come alive.
Right.
Yeah. So this went from 14 till 1964 until 1968-ish, and then it changed into Cradle, which was another mutation of the Pleasure Seekers. And at that point, one sister left, another one came in, and we started to write our own songs, and that went on for a couple of years, a year and a half, and then I was discovered by Mickey Most from England.
Okay. Now, what year was this now?
That would have been 71, and I left and went to England in October and stayed.
Right. Now, he had told you that he wanted to get you and not your band.
He didn't like the band.
He liked the band. He wanted
No.
you. He wanted
Yeah.
to formulate a solo
Yes.
entity of Suzi Quatro, and that was what. And then obviously, then by doing that, that's
Yes.
what started your career in England.
The solo career, yeah.
The solo career in England.
Yeah.
Now, the songs that of course, a lot of the songs. Now, because I've got your albums, I got you all that. The Can, She Loves You, songs such as that. These were songs that were before Stumbling In.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh God, Stumbling In was way down the line.
Okay.
See, the Can was the first one. I've had like 16 hits, but that was started in 1973.
Right.
And I think my first hit in America was, because I had minor hits here.
Right.
All Shook Up got in the charts. Double Gay Drive got in the charts. Never Been in Love got in the charts. Can't Give Me Love, Lower End.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my
That's
favorite.
my favorite.
If you can't give me a lot.
one
I
of
mean,
my
and of
favorites.
course, on YouTube there's a lot of stuff
Yeah,
on you on
sure, a
YouTube,
lot, yeah.
and your signature was when you were like doing like this, kind of like a
Yeah.
cute little thing. You were going like that, and you
Yeah.
were singing, you're playing the guitar, and the one deal how you were going back and forth
Yeah.
you know, siding like, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a little signature move. You kind of,
Yeah.
it kind of just stood out.
I don't know. I can't look at it that way. I crack up when I see myself live
Yeah.
because
Yeah, well, I mean, no, but
because it just moves you. The music takes you somewhere. You don't take it. It takes you.
it takes you. Yeah.
And you just move how you move. But Stumbling In was the million seller here for me, and
Well,
it's
that's-
actually one of the favorites around the world, that
Yeah.
song. The ballad, isn't that
Well,
funny?
yeah, yeah.
I'm known for rock and roll, and it was the ballad that really captured people. Same as If You Can't Give Me Love.
Why do you think, Lo, that these other songs, which I think they would have been big hits, I mean, why do you think they were not major hits in the United States?
The focus was never put on here. I was based in England with an English record company.
Right.
And I think Mickey Most, he's deceased now. He's like a dad to me. He felt safer having me successful in everywhere that he had control over, and he didn't have control in America. So
Right.
consequently, he didn't put us with, I don't think, the right record companies over here. And he kept changing record companies, so we never had continuity over here.
Right.
But saying that, we did, maybe 8 or 9 very successful tours. We sold a lot of albums. Everybody certainly knows who I am, but we didn't have that single success in the States. And it happened how it's supposed to happen. I guess I believe everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
that's
and then
all.
of course Happy Days changed all that. I mean,
Yeah.
people know me here for Happy Days and everywhere else in the world for my music, somebody who had millions of hits but also did a TV show. And over here they know me for that.
Right.
It's so
As
strange.
Leather Tuscadera,
Yeah,
and then they know
it's
you for
crazy.
that, and then
yeah.
they know you for the one hit.
The one hit, yeah, the
With
big
Chris,
hit.
Chris Norman, right? Mm-hmm. Do you still talk to Chris? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I still
Chris
see him.
Norman.
In fact, I'm going to be singing with him at the end of March.
There you go.
Yeah.
That being said, now of course, with everything you've done in the UK, you've had your tours. Now, you have yearly tours throughout, or do you?
I go everywhere.
Go
I
everywhere.
go. I do average 60 shows a year still.
Mm-hmm.
I just September completed my 24th sold out tour of Australia.
Right.
I do a lot in Europe. I do a lot in the UK. And then I'm going back again now, public demand. I'm going Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong in April.
Right.
I go straight from a German show back to Heathrow and then away again. And of course, I've got my long-running radio show. But what's the biggest thing for me in the past couple of years has been the release of Back to the Drive, which was
Right.
an autobiographical album. Took me 15 years to make that album.
Right.
And also my autobiography, Unzipped.
Unzipped, which
So
we'll-
these
which
are
we'll
the
get to in a little
two
bit. Yeah.
big things that I did that really kind of brought everything full circle for
Right.
me.
Right. Because, like I said, with anything else, but I mean, the music, and I mean, this music could have been great in the U.S., no doubt about it. If you just would have, you know. But that being said, with anything, you have a unique style to yourself. And now, of course, very unique in lots of ways. Who would you compare yourself with, in your time? Who would you compare yourself with? I mean, like Pat Benatar, dare we say Janis Joplin, but maybe
Yeah, Pat was my fan.
Pat was your fan?
Yeah, she came to see me before she had success at the, I believe it was the Roxy.
Right.
Yeah,
Pat Benatar.
she wanted to learn some moves, she said.
What about Joan Jett?
She was my biggest fan.
She was your biggest fan, so they looked up to you.
Oh God, they were
Yeah.
way after me.
Yeah.
Joan was at every gig in LA, she would be in the lobby of the hotel.
Right.
Waiting for me, which was so cute. It
Right.
was cute. And because I think she's very good at what she does.
Yeah.
And she actually was in Japan backstage watching me at every show at the side of the stage.
Right.
So she would tell you this, she was a big, big fan. And I was relieved when she started the Runaways, relieved, because I thought she needed an outlet for her worship. She was like,
Right.
and I thought, well, God, don't just be a fan, do something. And she did.
Right.
And indeed, she made a huge career out of it. So I'm proud in a way. I was part of that, I guess. You
Right.
know, good for her.
I want to backtrack here a little bit. Now, on the internet, you were talking about the reasons why that Elvis Presley had contacted you, and you felt like it wasn't the time. I'm curious to know more about that.
Let's see, that was 1974. All Shook Up had been in the charts.
Right.
And we were in Memphis, and he called me.
There you go.
And he said, I nearly died. And he said, I think your version of All Shook Up is the best since my own, and would you like to come to Graceland? And I actually said something like, I'm a bit busy. But there is a reason. I mean, you've got somebody who gave me gave me the reason to do what I do.
Right.
And I'd only had like a year of hits, and I didn't feel ready to meet my idol yet. Wasn't ready yet. If he'd asked me like a couple years later, it would have been fine, but wasn't ready. I wanted to be more on an equal footing. So I wasn't like, you know, worshiping at his feet, although I would have been anyway. But I just wanted to have a few more hits under my belt.
You wanted to be more out there. And if you knew, hindsight being 2020, if you had to do it all over again, you would have probably said, yeah.
No, because, again, I believe in fate, and I wouldn't have written Singing with Angels, which will be out soon. That's my tribute for Elvis Presley. And it was recorded about 2 years ago with James Burton and the Jordanaires in Memphis, in Nashville, I mean. And if I'd met him, I wouldn't have written that song. And that song is my little gold. It is a hit, not yet, but it will be. And I don't think I would have had the feeling to write that song if I'd actually met him, because it made me put him up there.
Right.
You know.
Let's jump into that right now. Now, Jordanaires were the one song that I know. "Crying in the Chapel" was one song they did with Elvis, I believe.
They did all of the early stuff.
All the early stuff with Elvis. But now this is a song that you create that's going to be out.
It will be out.
It'll be out.
Probably next year sometime. We have to make it. I couldn't release it on Back to the Drive. It's such a special piece of music that it doesn't belong anywhere.
Right.
And we've been searching for the home for it. What album should this be on?
Right.
You know. And now we have found the type of album to put this song on. So we're getting started on that shortly, which it will happen. But it gives you goosebumps. People cry when they hear it.
Well, I heard it on the net too.
Yeah.
You also did "Desperado" by the Eagles, and
my favorite song.
And that was, and you were driving your like a Mercedes in the desert or somewhere.
Yeah.
And
well, that's the girl that's doing the documentary. The documentary is now done, Naked Under Leather.
Right.
Vicki Blue, who was she's a marvelous director and a friend. She decided to film that way. You know, when we were out filming for the documentary, she said, "Let's do Desperado." And in fact, it was her idea to do Desperado.
Favorite Eagles tune,
my favorite.
Yeah.
And she said, just make it plain. So we just did it with a piano. And the version that nobody's heard yet is I actually had Jeff Beck put down guitar on it, which he's done.
Yeah.
He's put down
Now,
guitar.
Did Jeff Beck play with ELO, or was it the same different one I'm looking at? I thought
No,
he was with,
he's
Jeff
just
okay.
a star on guitar all on his own. He's the best.
Gotcha.
And he actually put down a guitar on this track for me. So that's the version that will come out.
Right.
Maybe that'll be on the same album as Singing with Angels.
There you go. What is your relationship with Alice Cooper? We know that you all are buddies and all that.
Forever, since Detroit days. We used to rehearse at their garage, which is good friends, really, really good friends. I think there was one moment in time when we could have been boyfriend and girlfriend, but Alice, we always crack up at that because we had one serious smooch, you know, and then we both just went, nah.
It wasn't just friends,
no,
mostly.
we did this big soul-searching kiss, and then we just kind of pulled back and we went, and we've been like brother and sister.
Right.
But we had the moment, you know, where it could have gone either way. But
went either way.
Love him to death. Nice man. Got a lot of time for him. And I was the guest artist on the tour that he fell in love with his wife. So it's we have a lot of connections.
There you go. There you go. There was one thing on the internet that I looked at that I felt I was hysterical, and this was back in '93. It was called, obviously in the UK, and he kissed me. And you were standing on a stool.
Oh, that was a comic. Two comedians.
Yeah, two comedians, and you were standing on a stool.
Newman Beetle or something.
Yes, and you just what the punchline was this, after the guy came in and told you that you need to we need to let you go. Then this old man comes up dressed as you, and he says he kissed me on the tits. I mean that was hysterical.
Yeah, that was that. They put that in. Yeah.
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 So, but of course, yeah, but that was.
But they were two sort of cutting edge comedians,
right?
So they were on the edge all the time.
Well, so that's what I do back home. Of course, this is all about you, of course. But yeah, that's what I do back home. It's cutting edge material,
right?
Kind of political satire, bathroom humor, and all that. And that's what I've been doing. And so but that was the one thing that I saw that kind of caught my eye.
Right.
Now, when you were on Happy Days and you were known as Leather Tuscadero, how many episodes were you on Happy Days? Now,
I did 15 over 3 years. They wanted me to do more, but I was heavily touring at the time.
Right.
Can't Give Me Love was in the charts, and it was like I was busy everywhere, so I had to fly in when I could do a couple of episodes, fly back out. I was told by the main lady there at Paramount, this is a couple of years after I left the show, that I got the most fan mail after the Fonz, which I was really, really proud of.
Yeah.
How nice. How nice. But the decision was made in '79 when Stumbling In was riding high.
Right.
that I shouldn't do any more Happy Days because it was conflicting with my being taken serious as a rock and roll artist.
Right.
This wasn't my decision.
You wanted to do more.
Yeah, I didn't even know it had been said until all of a sudden I wasn't doing anymore. And then it was one of those crazy things. I was a little bit annoyed, but it was too late to change it. And they did want to do a spin-off series at one point.
Right.
But Henry had told me how difficult it was to shake the Fonz. So I kind of thought, well, how long do I need to be Leather Tuscadero? I was only in it for 15 episodes, and it follows me everywhere.
Right.
Shows you the power of that show.
Let me say this now. People say that you were the female version of the Fonz.
Yeah.
And that's what you. So on the show, you weren't boyfriend and girlfriend on
No.
the show. It was
No.
more or less the female
Friends.
version of the Fonz.
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
Fonz,
yeah. We were buddies.
The leather,
Yeah.
Get up there. Now, I've told people about you. Oh, that must be Pinky. I said, no, it's not Pinky.
No.
No, but and I don't quite remember Pinky. And it goes to show you where I'm at. Pinky's character was what? I mean, who was Pinky?
I think she was Fonzie's girlfriend, and I played her little sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. So
I think there were contractual problems with all that. I think there was some people not getting along from what I gathered and all that. And then they wanted to write on a little sister part, and the word went out, and they couldn't find anybody. And
lo and behold.
they had this script for a long time. They wanted somebody who could sing and could act and could be tough and could be vulnerable.
Right.
So, hello. So the casting lady saw my picture in her daughter's bedroom on the cover of Rolling Stone. And she said, oh my God, who is that? That's who we're looking for.
There you go.
And the daughter said, that's Suzi Quatro. The call went out, came to me. I flew over, did the audition,
Right.
got the part.
Now, other than wearing leather, I mean, you consider yourself as a tomboy? I mean,
Yeah.
No, because I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean,
I'm
you
kind
do?
of funky.
Well, a
I think
tomboy-
I'll always
I mean-
be rock and roll. I have my dress up moments,
Yeah.
but even when I'm in like a, let's say I have like a little tight dress on with heels every now and again if we go out for dinner,
Yeah.
I still stride. People always crack up because I'm a rock and roll girl, I guess, at heart, yeah. Kind of funky. And I'm stuck.
But still, obviously, a lady. Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
100%.
yes.
I've never not been feminine.
Yeah.
But I'm stuck with cute.
Well,
Stuck with the
it's
word
your
cute.
eyes. Your
They-
eyes. Your eyes stand out. You know.
Oh, they do.
They do.
And they.
And you know it too.
I do know it because I'm a very open girl.
Yeah.
And I'm an old bullshit girl. What you
Can
see.
we say that?
You can't say bullshit.
Can we say that?
What you see, we just said tits.
said
What you
tits, yeah.
see is what you get.
That's-
I don't hide.
Right.
If I'm upset, you'll see it here. If I'm happy, you'll see it here. Everything is in my eyes, and I don't hide. That's why my eyes stand out. Because they're very open and honest.
That's the Italian, mano mano.
Absolutely.
You tell it to me straight. Tell it to me
Here
right
it
now.
is.
Here it is.
And when I talk to people, you'll notice I do talk to you.
Yeah. You don't
I don't
talk,
talk at you.
You talk
I
to
talk
people.
to you.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the way to do it. I'm very upfront too. I believe in being upfront, less BS, less mind games, less head games. I mean, if people were direct, if people were more direct with them, we wouldn't have all this confliction, all these all these wars. I mean, if these politicians would not talk at you, but talk directly.
Yes.
It'd be a harmonious.
Politicians sidestep.
Yeah.
That's their favorite dance step. It's sidestep.
No doubt. No doubt. Of course,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And you know what I found out? It's kind of like the way I live my life. If you don't tell your truth, however painful it might be to somebody, right?
Right.
Your truth. You also deny them the chance to tell you theirs.
Right.
Because if you're dealing in lies, then it's going lie, lie, lie. I'd rather be hurt with the truth.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
And
Well,
sometimes it is painful.
Now, being a celeb and being famous, people recognize you. You are approachable. You're extroverted, not introverted. I can tell you're extroverted.
Yeah.
You'll talk to
Yeah.
strangers. You're approachable. You're not going to say, well, I don't have time. I mean, you will.
No, I don't do that.
If people.
If they bother to come up to me, which I'd say if they bother, and they say, hi, are you Suzi? And they want to have a couple words, so what?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for still knowing me. Thank you for taking the time to speak
That's right.
to me.
That's right. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not one of those.
not too big for your britches.
No.
Not too big for your, for start. You are who you are. You have, following. You have
I'm
stardom.
accessible.
You're accessible to the public.
Yes.
And you make it.
But
you make it
not
that
to
way.
drunken idiots who want to score a few points. No. Then I become the other Suzi Quatro on the stage that can cut you dead with the word. Okay. But that's when they ask for it.
Right.
I'm nobody's fool.
Right.
But if somebody's friendly and they just want to come up and they talk, so what? I don't hide on the street. People are always recognizing me. You can either put the glasses on and try not to be noticed, or you can walk out in your glory and let people come up and they only want to say hi.
Yeah.
It's amazing. When people, but hi.
Hi.
Are you Suzi? Yes, I am.
There you go.
And then there's that moment and they go, hi, and you go, hi, and then they leave.
Yeah, just like that.
That's all it is. What's the big deal?
And of course, the paparazzi in the UK, are they big in the UK too?
Yeah,
As they are
yeah.
in LA?
And I have a good relationship with the paparazzi.
All right. They come up to you and say, hi. And then
I've always got time.
always got time. And make the time. You say, I mean, you don't like say now. And they get obnoxious and they try to get near your bend, and you say, hey, that's when you have
Like
to.
I said, there's a moment when you might need to cut off the access, but I call them bullshit detector. I've got a really good bullshit detector.
You can read people too.
From the time they walk in the room.
Okay.
As soon as I say hello and shake your hand, I know who you are.
You know who I am.
I know who you are.
You know who I am.
Oh, totally.
Who am I?
You know who you are.
Well, I know who I am,
But you fight with it all the time.
I fight with it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm full of crap, right? I'm
No,
full of
no. There's a little inner part of you that you're always arguing with.
Okay.
A real tender part, actually, that
Yeah.
you wish wasn't there because you hurt quite easy.
Yeah, I do.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Crystal ball.
Yep.
You're psychic.
I am psychic.
You are psychic.
Yes.
Do you do fortunes? Or do you do
You
palm
know,
sign?
it's.
Here's
I try not to do this in public, but sometimes
Yeah.
it comes out. And when I do it, when I bother to talk to a complete stranger and
Right.
go, listen, I'm getting this,
Right.
I'm always validated. It's always exactly correct.
Okay.
I can't help it. You either have that sense of you don't.
Right.
Actually, we all have it. We
Right.
all have the sense. But we close it off very
Right.
young. When you're a kid, you're very in tune.
Right.
And as you grow up, people tell you, oh,
Well, you're in tune. You can read for others, but it's hard to know for yourself, I believe. Or am I totally wrong with that?
No, you're dealing with emotion with yourself big time.
Right.
So the biggest journey in life is to get peace within yourself. That's what we
Right.
all have to search for. It's not
Right.
easy. You think that's the easiest. That's the hardest. You get tested in your relationships because what it's trying to do is when you get tested in love and friendship, it's because you're not in touch with you.
Right.
If you're in touch with you, everything else is real easy.
Right.
Just flows.
Just flows
But
out.
this is the journey. This is the journey. Writing the book answered a lot of my questions. I was able to close the book at the end of it.
Let's go back real fast onto Happy Days. Do you still have an ongoing relationship with Henry Winkler, Scott Baio, and
Yes, in fact, I'm happy to say that I called up some of my friends for quotes for my autobiography.
Right.
Tom Hanks gave me one immediately. He's a big fan. I thought, oh, nice of him. Bang, it came. I was so thrilled. Ronnie, I said, can I have a quote? He wrote me 2 pages. I said, well, thanks, Ronnie. I only wanted a quote. It was this lovely thing. Henry, the same. They're all on the back of the book. How nice.
Yes.
And how humbling. I called Ronnie. I said, oh, you wrote such nice things. Thank you. He said,
Okay.
well, only the truth,
Okay.
Suzi. Only the truth. I said, oh, so nice.
Now Tom Hanks, because I heard some of the Tom Hanks had said that you were a legend in your own right, or what?
Yeah, he was a big fan. He was at a lot of my shows, and I didn't know him then, but when I called him for a quote, he immediately came on board.
Right.
So that's nice.
Stumbling In. What was the meaning? What was the message in Stumbling In?
The message in Stumbling In. God.
Did that throw you off?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the song. and
I was
how
too
it
young.
happened.
You were too. Or,
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah, but kind of like, as it is with love, eventually it just all falls in. You can't avoid love.
Right.
You can't make it run the way you want it to run.
Right.
It's just going to do what it does. That's the big thing with love. It's the one thing you have no control over.
Right.
You can't, when it's going to come into your life. You can't know when it's going to go out. You can't know the reasons really why it succeeds or why it fails.
Right.
So love is like the real testing ground.
Love conquers all, but love stumbles in,
Yes.
and there it is.
It does what it does.
It does what it does.
Yeah.
It stumbles right into the core.
It's nice. We think we have control, and we don't really.
Right. Now, through this in between, have you done any other acting, or was Happy Days the only?
Oh God, no. God.
Well, of course, the little thing.
Yeah, I've got to think now what I've done. I've done quite a few series in England. I did a big series I called Minder. I did another show that was shown here called Dempsey and Makepeace, where I played a murderer. I've done
What year was that?
several
What year
musicals.
was that Murderer? That one you played? What year was that?
That was 84,
84.
85, around there. I've done musicals, the West End stage. I've written and started a musical about Tallulah Bankhead. written the music for it. I just finished a play in England called Exonerated, which is an American play. I think Tom Hanks actually did it too. His name comes up again.
Right.
About 6 people on death row, true story of 6 people on death row.
Right.
And Vanessa Redgrave came in after me, which is great. God, I like acting very much. It's my second love.
Your second love?
Yeah.
Yeah, in school, I was in drama. I was very much in acting, and in high school, I'm into of course, the books that I read, of course, movies or comedy, of course, books, mystery novels and whatnot. I'm into a lot of the mystery novels. But, comedy, that's what I'm about. I like the bathroom humor, political satire, kind of like the demented humor. And people say, well, you're arrogant and cocky. Well, no, it's a facade.
So you're sick, basically.
Sick, yes. And, I'm very sick. I'm very sick and demented, but I try to keep it on even level,
right.
But people, they don't, that's lewd. Well, change the channel,
Sure, people
change
don't have to
channel.
watch, yeah, sure.
The UK, the humor in the UK, people are into the Benny Hill. I love Benny Hill. I remember Benny Hill. Benny Hill
he's great.
Benny Hill, the late Benny Hill.
He got away with a lot.
And in the UK, you can do that. But in the US, it's like, you're under a
prudes.
microscope.
No, they're prudes in this country.
Yeah.
They are. They don't like dirty humor.
No, unfortunately. But people.
But there is dirty humor.
But
they don't allow it on mainstream,
But there is. But then everything needs to be censored.
Yes, sure.
Stern is a genius. People think that Stern is is Antichrist. But Stern has.
I don't think he's the anti. I think he's quite clever.
He is, and people think that, but it's a facade. And you read his books, or you read Private Parts. It was genius.
Yeah, sure.
It was and that's my genre. That's what I do. And yet, being in the location that I'm in, I'm kind of like limited because Virginia is the Bible Belt.
Yeah, sure.
And I wasn't really turned up by Hollywood, but that's just me. But it's always a niche. It's finding that certain niche and doing.
It's finding your place in the world.
Find your place in the world, and here I am, on the verge of turning. I'm going to be 40 in July. I'm still a young baby, but I feel like when I'm dreading turning 40. I'm dreading that this summer.
40's good.
40's good. That's when you peak out.
40's watershed.
We talked about acting. You said that basically that you acting is your second love next to music.
It is. It's a hard call, but I guess I am most alive when I'm on the stage.
Right.
Because I'm an audience person.
Right.
That's what I've been doing my whole life. It completes my cycle.
Now, when you look back into performing, and then I told you about the movement that stands. What stands out about you, some people have a presence when they enter a room that they stand out. And I'm not trying to shovel it up, but you have that presence when you enter a room. You light up the room. Now, people say that about me, but I think they're full of crap, about me. I'm gonna be humble here, but when you play the guitar and you go back and forth like that and you shake it like that's sexy.
Yeah.
That was the sexy appeal that you had. Just that signature of going back and forth like that.
It's hard. It's hard for me to see that. I just moved how I moved. I didn't think, I didn't move and think this is sexy.
Right.
In fact, I didn't even get the jumpsuit and know what was going to be sexy. I just wanted to wear leather.
Right. And leather was what,
That was my thing.
That was
my thing. And then Mickey Mouse suggested a jumpsuit, and I actually thought it was really sensible and really smart because I wouldn't have to be tucking things in and all that because I jump around so much. Right. Then all of a sudden I put it on and I realized it was sexy.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the plan.
Yeah. Well, it was.
Anyway, true sexuality comes from within. It's not something you plan.
It's just there.
It's
you got it. You're there, flying, babe. It's like a song. I'm too sexy. Okay, anyway. But.
No, Mike Chapman is Australian, and he worked together with Nicky Chin for many years. Okay. They were the songwriting production team. I didn't know him in America. I met him in England.
Right.
After about a year I was there, and Mickey Most was finding it very difficult to get me away, to start me happening. He didn't know what to do with me in the studio. And he had these 2 new writers who were very good at writing singles.
Right.
So he said, would I mind having them come to see the band that I had finally formed,
right.
Which I did. And we did all original material. They listened to what we had done, which was on the first album.
Right.
And they wrote this Can the Can, which is very similar to what we were doing anyway,
right.
Only it was a commercial 3-minute single. I had much success with him through the years, and now I still work with Mike Chapman. He lives now in Connecticut, and we're probably going to be doing another project together soon, writing together, recording together. He's still a very, very good friend. I don't have anything to do with Nicky Chin anymore, and the two of them split up years ago. But Mike is still a very successful man.
How could I get those two names mixed up? I must.
It's okay.
Mike, Mark. Okay.
No, but there must have been something in the air there.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay. But now, maybe I'm told, but I thought that Mike Chapman did write for Lennon too.
No.
No.
Never.
Okay.
He produced a lot of people, like he did the Parallel Lines album for Blondie.
Right.
He did Smokey.
Smokey Robinson? Or the
no,
band
Smokey, the band Smokey.
Yeah.
The Arrows. Oh God, I can't think of who else he did. Racy. No, he didn't produce them. They wrote, Chin and Chapman together wrote a whole generation of music from the 70s to the 80s. Then Mike Chapman had continued success, and he actually wrote, oh God, what's the big Tina Turner hit?
What's Love Got to Do
Simply
with
the
It?
Best.
Simply the Best.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my theme song. Simply the Best. Yes.
Yeah, Chapman is still very successful.
That's cool. And so you're going to have more sessions with him.
Yes.
Coming up.
He was executive producer on the last album, and the album was produced by Andy Scott, who was the original guitar player in The Suite.
Right. There you go. With being back in the States, now you're back in the States, I mean, and you say that things happen for a reason, because certain things wouldn't have happened if they were not. Do you have, any regrets, Lo, that maybe you couldn't be a rock and roll performer in the States? Maybe a regret that, you could perform in the States and be able to have your career here next to your family, your mom and your dad,
Well, we did start coming here in '74, and we did come here again and again and again. We did a lot of big tours. But like I said, I was based over there. It would have been nice because, I would have been near my family, but I did come back a lot. Mm-hmm. I was here 3 or 4 times a year until 1989. And then, 1981. And then I just stopped coming here. I don't know why. I would love to tour America again. I really would. Maybe it'll happen. I don't know.
Maybe I could bang the doors
I would
down
love
for
to.
you,
I really would love to.
Maybe I can be your.
Maybe once the documentary comes out, that'll do it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
I'm quite happy with what I've had. Like I said, if it was meant to be, it's meant to be.
The one video that I saw on the internet that was kind of a cute little video that you did, What Goes Around.
Yeah,
that came in '93. Now that's totally different from what you do. It's like a popish kind of a sound. You were sitting in there, and then I'm not going to use the word midget, short person walking around.
Yes, yeah.
And then you have a chicken going around.
That's right, crazy video.
And then you have a woman walking her dog.
Very strange.
Yeah, it's kind of like bizarre. What is going on here? And she's in the chair, and you're snapping, snapping your fingers. Very cute, very And then you're singing to an old man.
Yeah.
And tell us about that. I mean,
just very strange. That was at a period in my life I had a particular songwriting partner. She was a good friend of mine.
Right.
And I got asked to re-record some of my hits, and they called it Latest and Greatest, the album. So they said, you can put on 4 or 5 new ones and also re-record. So that's what I did. I had a horn section on there and everything. But What Goes Around was a very commercial song. I quite like that. We did it live for a long time, too.
Big in the UK?
It was... no, it wasn't a hit single, but the album did okay. Yeah.
So it wasn't a hit single anywhere through.
No.
Okay.
No.
Right. Because it's different. It was kind of a different.
It was different vibe.
Different vibe altogether. Yeah. Now, with what you've got going on, of course, now Rainier Haas is your husband. Rainier Haas,
Reiner Haas. It's okay.
Butchering his name.
It's a strange name.
I'm butchering the name.
Reiner Haas. At least you can call him Mark Chapman. That's okay.
No, okay. Rainer Haas. Now, I'm not going to do the George Bush thing with mispronunciation. Okay. But okay. So basically, you've been married, and he helps you with.
He's a promoter.
He's a promoter.
That's how we met.
Okay.
Yeah. And it just kind of now is grown into the thing where he does my bookings for me. It didn't start that way.
Right.
But now he seems to do that, yeah. He's not a manager as such because he doesn't want to be, and I don't want it to be because I think it just blurs the lines too much. He's my husband.
Right.
But he advises me on just about everything, and he books me, and he kind of is and he kind of isn't,
Advises you on, different
Yeah, he's
a
very smart businessman.
There you go. It's good to have
and
that.
I trust him.
All right. Well, What I want to do is word association. I'm gonna name some names to you. Of course, I want you to give me your opinion upon different things.
One of my favorite games.
Word association. Well, first we're going to do some words, and then we're going to do people. And
Okay.
just give us what you
I'm
think
ready.
about that. Okay. Disco. The first thing that comes to mind.
Medallion.
Okay.
I think of the Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees.
Okay,
Yeah, the Bee Gees. Yes. Yeah. And you know, I mean, I like the Bee Gees.
Yeah, they're very good.
I mean-
Robin's a friend of mine. Actually, I knew them all. Lovely people, very talented. End of story. They made some great music. What more do you have to say?
Yeah, different time. Let me ask you, let's backtrack here. Disco as a whole. Now, people want to forget the disco, and people, you know, it's not cool to like disco, but back then it was a fusion, and an infusion of black music and white music together. And that was where music was blending in together in an ebb and flow. And it was flowing together, and people would listen.
It was.
Yeah.
I wasn't big on the disco craze. I was from Detroit.
Yeah.
So my kind of dancing was more Motown.
Motown. Smokey
know?
Robinson, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, sure. Although I did like some of the disco music, it wasn't a big thing. I wasn't out discoing. Let's put
You
it
were in
that
disco.
way.
So I mean, obviously your music is not was not disco, but classify into that stage. You know, the Casey's Kasem's Hot 100.
Yes, it was a phase of music at
Right.
that time,
Yeah.
sure, and a
Yeah.
necessary phase. Yeah.
I mean, music was
Yeah.
what it was, so it infused together. Okay, let's go back to the name association. The '70s. What's your first?
Oh, I think of men in makeup.
Men in makeup. Gene Simmons.
A friend of mine. Intelligent.
Intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Alice Cooper once again.
A sweetie pie.
Okay. All right. Let's. I hate to. I got to do it. George W. Bush. Don't get political.
My look said it all. Not my kind of guy.
That's your kind of guy.
No,
Bill Clinton.
better than what people think.
Yeah. I feel your pain. Yes.
Better than what people think.
Yes, most definitely. Okay. What's your okay? Now, what hobbies do you do?
Oh God.
When
I'm a
Suzi
keep
has
fit person, first of all, so I jog. I jog on the beach every day.
Yeah.
I do yoga. I go to the gym. God, what hobbies? I'm a Sudoku nut. I don't really have any hobbies.
Do you have any hobbies?
No, I'm too busy all the time. I don't have hobbies.
Well, when you do have time to sit, sit
Like,
by, would you like
kickback time?
Kickback, yeah. I mean,
A good bottle of wine.
or-
Oh, I love. I'm a great pool player.
Are you?
Oh yes, I played the world champion.
Did you?
Very good. I wield a mean stick. I tell you right now. I'm very good. I watch a movie on my big screen and have a glass of wine. That's my kickback time.
What's your favorite wine?
I have many.
You many?
I'm a bit of a wine snob.
wine
I'm afraid.
connoisseur, yeah.
I am. I can't drink bad wine. Doesn't necessarily have to be expensive, but I can't drink bad wine. Life is too short.
Right. What about what's your favorite beer?
I don't drink beer.
You don't drink beer.
No, it's the first thing I ever got sick on.
It's beer.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all I drink is suck down Coronas. I mean,
There you go.
I suck them down like there's no tomorrow.
Don't like it.
A lime squeeze. Anyway, so no, but I mean, like within any time, do you find yourself playing the piano? Do you find yourself doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that? I mean, as far as musical, I mean, because that's what you do. But in your time, or do you find yourself on an instrument, or maybe just
Oh, I
fooling
do.
around
Oh,
and,
God, yes.
You know.
If I'm watching TV in the front room, I've got either a guitar or I'm sitting at the piano at the same time. Yeah, sure.
Right.
Sure. Music is very much a
Music is
part of
fun.
my life.
One thing about music is that no matter how bad you feel, of course, now I do karaoke. Of course, I'm a DJ back home. I do karaoke, and you get people that can sing and people that can't sing. But no matter what the stage is, or no matter how you feel, music has a way of making you kind of just putting you in it's kind of intoxicating. Music is intoxicating because it puts you in a tranquil, position like that.
Or it can put you in a crazy. It depends on what music you choose. Music is the mood barometer.
Right.
I think.
Definitely.
You got to think of what you choose when you want to put music on. If you're in an angry mood, you'll choose heavy metal.
Well, Metallica or
You know?
Pantera.
Yeah.
That's not my.
If you're
choice.
romantic, you put on Nat King Cole. I mean, it's funny what you go to.
Right.
To enhance your mood.
Yeah, well, but I guess, of course, in a somber mood a little bit, Lionel Richie, look, it's Nat King
Yeah,
Cole,
that's right,
and,
sure.
doing, puts you in that, but it kind of cleanses, it kind of cleanses
It
a
does.
little bit.
It does.
I know I'm forgetting something here. There's so many things here because you're a very fascinating, very intriguing woman. Let's talk about naked under leather. Am I saying that right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. What talk about that.
Let me see, it was Vicky Tischler Blue. She was a bass player for the Runaways for a very short time. And she contacted me. She was doing something about the Runaways, and we formed a friendship pretty quickly on. And I said to her jokingly one day, oh, you should make a documentary of my life.
Right.
And all of a sudden she was. So it's been a while making it, and it should have been out already. But the book came out and just the publicity went nuts. So now we decided to just take it back a little bit and wait for the book to smooth out. Paperback comes out in July, and then we will put it out. So probably be out later this year. It was being filmed for over 5 years now. She's got footage with my sisters, footage with my dad. We did a lot of filming together, very in-depth.
Is Dad still alive?
He is, but he's got dementia now, so he's kind of taken up space now.
Mom has passed on.
Mom is dead since '91, yeah.
Right. I hate to backtrack again, but were you all tight? There was a little bit of...
That's too big of a question to answer.
Yeah.
We were tight as families are, but very different people.
Right. Because I hear the voice of my dad, because my dad to me said, he'd say, hey boy, why don't you go to college or become a doctor? I'm like,
Your dad's passed.
My dad's passed. I said, boy, you need to do this. Like everything was boy this and boy that. So I know what you're talking about, and
What age did he die? How old were
he
you?
lived a long life. He had me when he was 50. So it was kind of big age difference. He's died at 8, like 01. He was 83, So, but there was a big difference there. But, it's like, I can remember it said, you need to go to college, you need to do that, and of course, going through all of that, But you already know what you want already, so to deal with that basically. But with anything else, but there was the tightness there throughout, the siblings and all that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good memories in there. We were a very loud family, very musical, very show busy, very opinionated. Yeah, an interesting family to grow up in. Right. Absolutely.
Now going back onto to what we were talking about, Naked Under
Naked
Leather.
Under
That's
Leather.
what we're talking about.
That's all in there. Everything's in the documentary. She's done a very good job on it. And like people now that have read the book now, then, like you always do, you read the book, then you see the movie. So that will be out sometime next year.
Well, there you go.
And I've got nothing left to say on it all. It's all in the book or in the thing. Now I'm like, next? What's next now?
What's next?
I don't know. The next album?
Next album?
Yeah.
Unzipped. There's a book that you're writing. Or is it a book that you were writing, Unzipped? Or is
No, this is my autobiography that came out in September. That's been released worldwide.
Right. And that talks about...
It's my life.
Your life as a whole. Like it covers all of that.
Yes, it does.
That's good. And now, can you get that here in the States? Or
yes.
Okay.
You can. I don't know if every shop carries it. I know you can get it on Amazon. A lot of people have gotten it already.
Right.
And I think maybe you have to order it at some stores. I don't know, but it's available worldwide.
And it talks about the life history of Suzi Quatro.
It's my whole life in
It's
the
your whole
book,
life in the book.
So far.
All your accomplishments, all your achievements.
Everything, good and bad.
The whole 9 yards.
Yes, it's a very, very candid book.
Right.
And I'm very proud of it.
Right. Well, also to, so with that, now if you had to do something, are there any regrets that you have about your life? Are there any regrets as a whole? Do you wish you could have done this, or or could have done that, or what?
I think everything happens as it should.
Everything, you believe that? You believe everything is?
And even the bad stuff is supposed to teach you something. Absolutely, you got a lesson to learn, and you better learn it. That is life. So.
Good, bad, or indifferent?
Yes. And you need something to measure the good stuff against, so I think my life has gone exactly how it's supposed to have gone.
Right. And there's nothing you would change even if you wanted to. Nothing you would change.
Nothing you should change.
Right.
It happens as it should.
Right. So there you go. Now you are touring, like I said, you're going to be touring in April, I believe.
I'm touring all the time. This is like 2 weeks off I have right now. I go back and I start work again.
So you're going back into the tour.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this year alone, I think I was telling you when we were talking out there, I've been to Paris, Dublin, Mallorca, Madrid, Moscow, Denmark, Prague, Miami, Dallas. That's just since January.
Right.
So this is my life.
This is your life. This
Yeah.
touring and going all over, working it out. Anything else, Suzi, that you wanted to about the book? Any certain highlights of the book that we should know about, or it's just other than it's
I've written it in two people.
Okay.
Little Suzi from Detroit and Suzi Quatro, and they are both two different people.
Right.
And I'm a Gemini, so it's a typical Gemini thing to do, you know, the twins.
I'm Cancer myself, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that explains why you're so sensitive. Okay.
You can tell that. Yeah.
I would have guessed Cancer. That was going to be my guess.
A little Leo, a little spark of a Leo, a little bit.
Yeah, but the Cancer is what's the most important part.
Yeah.
That's the part that needs the nurturing.
Yeah.
Anyway, written it in two people. It's a very honest account. I stand by every phrase I wrote.
Right.
And it takes you from the beginning of my life up to this present day. A lot of lessons in there for everybody, you know. It's gotten great critics. It's at #2 in Australia, which is great. It's a book I had to write. I'd love to make it into a film. That would be great. That's really all I have to say about it.
There you go. Just put it on film.
Absolutely.
So then you have, you know, of course, would you play yourself or would you have someone else play you?
I'd have to have somebody play me from a certain age. I'd like to come in at the end. I'd find it really fascinating to play my mother. That'd be brilliant.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Let me just say, with anything, now I was playing on the internet and, you know, just bored one night, and then I looked under and I saw Suzi Quatro. I just had to punch in, you know, because it's, you know, playing the jukebox, and I was punching in her name, and I went to her website, and it was interesting. And when we had, this is back in August, when I was emailing you, and I don't know if I was talking to your publicist or if I was talking to you, or I was talking to, but you know, when you first, bizarre, when you got this email saying, hey, I'm so-and-so from the States, I'd like to do an interview. What was your first, you thought it was a little bit odd or what?
No, I get things like this all the time.
Do you? Okay.
Lots of requests, you know. You just kind of follow your instincts, you know. We're sitting here talking, so obviously I thought this would be fine.
Right.
I didn't think you were a serial killer.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Because you know, usually people say, well, what's this guy? Yeah, this guy wants to do it, you know. But once again, it brings us right back, being approachable to your fans, being accessible to your fans, and being there.
Well, I'm on MySpace. People, we have conversations.
Yeah.
Big conversations about personal things.
Right. Well, there you go.
Because I'm a real person.
That's right.
And that's how we'll end this interview.
Being
You've been
real.
talking to a real person.
That's right. Well, hey, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you know, keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. But that's great. Anyway, I'm glad to have done this interview, and I'm glad to have talked to you. It's, you know, I feel like I'm with the Queen of England right here. You know, I'm with someone. And
I thought that was Elton John, actually.
Well, yeah, you know, or something like that, or the Candle in the Wind, or something like that. Well, that was Marilyn Monroe. But yeah. Things, I kind of believe that too. Things happen for a reason.
Yes.
Things are done for a reason, even though, you know, you kind of go back and you kind of second guess yourself. Well, with me, at least, I kind of say, like, you know, what if I did this or what if I did that? But then you brought up something interesting, saying that if you did something different, then you wouldn't have had the positive things that had came within your time. So there you go. All right. Well, we're glad to do this. We're in the secret location in Miami, and we will be talking to you. This is Gorgeous George. And we'll be talking to you soon. Take care, God bless, and keep it real.
Can I say goodbye to everybody?
Yes.
Hi, guys. I love doing that when people do that on the camera.
All right.
Like that little bit in Beverly Hillbillies. You know,
Yes.
She keeps going down.
With the granny and all that.
grandma.
Get your shoes off, you hear?
Yeah,
Come back out
great.
for a spell. Okay.
And thank you.
Take care. We'll see you on the flip side.